even the famous DIY artists, if you do the research, you'll find out that some person who knows what they're doing was involved in those projects almost every single time. Think about what it would mean if you had a great record out there or great songs out there that sound awesome. Chances are that you're going to regret this. You're going to ask yourself, like, what if? What if I had made this record sound amazing? I just don't want you to think about your art anymore as something that is not worth investing in.
This is the Self-Recording Band Podcast, the show where we help you make exciting records on your own, wherever you are, DIY style. Let's go.
I'm not a professional musician or producer, so it's not worth it to invest into my art. I get this all the time. People reach out and they download our resources or send me a message, listen to our podcast because they want to get better at recording or mixing. But then when I get to talk to them and they find out what it takes to get really good at this, like recording, mixing, mastering, editing, it's not easy, right? They immediately say, oh, you know what? I don't want to do this professionally. It's not going to be my job anyways. It's just a hobby. Like as if it was not worth it to put in the effort, time, and money and energy, or whatever it would take in their situation. So I wanted to ask you, how many of the artists that are out there in the world that you know, friends, bands you saw live, like smaller bands, things you enjoy listening to, and not the big records, but other stuff, people that you know from your, network, from your scene, whatever you're from, like how many of those are true professionals? Like how many of them really make a living making music? Of course the big ones do, but I'm sure that a lot of you listening now are listening to artists that are not true 100% professionals, but still they have exciting sounding records. So why are these people doing it if it's not worth it anyways, right? And I just wanted to make this episode because this is something that is really, really important to me, because I don't think as art or making art as good as it possibly can be, I don't connect that to like a commercial goal or something that you need to achieve in order for it to be worth it, to take it seriously and to invest in it. So anyway, this is the episode I'm going to be making today. Hello and welcome. This is the Self-Recording Band Podcast. I am your host, Benedict Hein. I am a mixing engineer, a full-time mixing engineer. Been doing that forever. Not forever, but I'm not too old. So it's all I've ever done in my life, my professional life. I've been doing this for more than 15 years. Never done something like anything else. We're mixing about 200, 300 songs every year at our studio here at Outback Recordings. And we've also created this platform, the Self-Recording Band, where we help self-recording artists like you make exciting sounding records that they will be proud of forever. We do this through this podcast, through free downloads and resources that we put out, through sending people valuable things via email, through online courses that we create that also include an incredible community, and through one-on-one coaching and mentoring that we offer. So if you are looking to make your recordings sound as good as they possibly can, you are in the right place. And let's dive into this. This is, I like to make episodes where I react to things that I constantly get from people. We have thousands of people listening to this and sending us stuff and in our community. And I sometimes spot patterns. And I sometimes see common things that get in the way of people making the records that they actually want to make. And one of the things that I've seen lately is this whole thing where people, they, like I said, they reach out to me, they consume our content, they watch countless hours of YouTube or whatever, and then once they figure out what it really takes to get from hobby quality to like truly great professional sounding stuff, once they figure out what it takes, because it's not easy, there are no shortcuts, right? Then they come up with excuses as to why they don't need to do that or why it's not worth it for them anyways. And so they'll say things like, I'm not a professional musician. So sometimes people will, the first thing they send me when they answer an email, for example, or when they send a question is like, oh, by the way, I'm not making this professionally. So it's like, just so you know, I'm not a pro. I'm not looking to become a pro producer. As if they were trying to justify that it's just a hobby for them, and as if they were trying to prevent me, from selling them something or whatever, or as if they were afraid they would have to invest money or something into something that is just a hobby. And I find that weird because I understand that you don't have a big budget. I understand that if it's a hobby, you will not make like a 6-figure, 7-figure, like huge production like the major artists do, right? I get that. But does this mean that your art is not worth investing in it? Like, I don't think that this is what it means. I don't think that there has to be this connection between the two. So, to be honest, like, most people invest in things that are a lot more, a lot less about professional stuff, or a lot less important in a way than art. Like, right? It's like people will buy expensive phones. They will go on expensive vacations. They buy expensive sneakers. They have other expensive hobbies. They spend a lot of money on eating out or partying at the weekend, or on alcohol, on cigarettes, on whatever. And I'm not judging. You can do whatever you want, and everybody has their thing that they are willing to spend money on, and that's totally fine. It's just that for whatever reason, with our art, with music, it's often like that is the area where a lot of people are hesitant to like put energy, time, effort, and also money into it. And from my personal experience, all I can say is I've worked with so many artists that are not professionals. They don't make a living making music. They don't make a living producing for others. And they still do whatever they can to make their song sound as good as possible. And they understand that it's not possible to do that completely on your own, just with YouTube and reading books or blogs or emails or listening to podcasts or whatever. And like, you can get very far doing that, and I get it and I love it. That's why we put out content too. But the truth is, it's not enough to get to that pro level. There's more than that. Or even if you can get there just with free information, it will take forever. That's just the truth. Look at any release, and we've done countless, like, actually, I don't know how many episodes we've already done on this, where we've essentially proven that every single record that really sounds exciting, that is successful, whatever that means to you, where people listen to and would objectively say, like, yeah, this sounds great. Every single one of them had some sort of professional involved in it. Like, people got help either from professional mixers, or they did the full production at a studio, or they got help. They bought a course. They got mentoring. They worked with someone. Maybe they have a friend that's a pro that gave him feedback and advice, whatever. But like, even the famous DIY artists, if you do the research, you'll find out that some person who knows what they're doing was involved in those projects almost every single time. And they do that, the big ones, but also the small ones where it's just a hobby. They do that although it is just a passion and a hobby. And the thing is, I've never talked to anyone or worked with anyone who regretted doing this properly and investing the time and energy and effort that it takes. But I know a lot of people who regret never having made this amazing record, right? So chances are that if you don't do it properly, you don't take it seriously, but it's a real dream of yours, like something you really want. But if you, for whatever reason, don't take that next step and take it seriously, chances are that you're going to regret this. You're going to ask yourself, like, what if? What if I had made this record sound amazing? What if I had this thing that will outlive me? What if I would be able to, like, leave this legacy and have songs out there in the world that people will still listen to even when I'm gone? What if, like, my ideas, my expression, my art and all that could be out there and help people, inspire people, connect with people? What if? That is very likely to happen if you don't do it. But if it's something that's in you that you really want to do. On the other hand, if you do that and you make that record, it's very unlikely that you're going to regret it. Like, I've never seen that. Like, if you work with someone awesome and make it sound amazing, you're not going to regret that. And if you do it yourself and you just get help, also will not regret it. Another area where I see regret sometimes is where people think they can do it all on their own without any help, without any feedback or guidance, just with YouTube, just with whatever. And it just takes forever. And then when they finally get there, which most people never do because they quit before that, or they hit this plateau that they just can't overcome themselves. But when they eventually get there, either by finally hiring someone to help them, or by just having the grit and putting in the hours and somehow making it happen on their own. Once they get there, they regret that they didn't get help earlier, almost always. And on the other hand, the ones who get help immediately, they don't regret it because they get there immediately and fast and they have what they wanted. So all that to say, I understand that not everybody can afford to hire a mixer. Not everybody can afford to go to a studio. And I also think it's not just a question of money. A lot of people just want to produce themselves because it's fun and it's part of the creative process. And you want full creative control and you want to do it on your own terms. I get all of that because I've done the same. I totally get that. But it doesn't mean that you cannot take it seriously just because it's not your profession. Like there's a difference. There are ways to make great sounding records on a limited budget. There are ways where you can get help in some areas and do a lot of it yourself. There are ways where you can do all of it yourself and just get help and guidance and feedback like we offer here at the Self-Recording Band. There is, the option of recording but letting someone else mix, or recording and mix but letting someone else master, or, so many different ways to do it for different types of people. All I want you to do really is to think about how important the music really is that you're making versus other things that you might be spending money on or investing time and energy into. How important that really is to you, what you'd be willing to make it happen, what this would mean for you if you made it happen. Like, would this investment in time, energy, money, whatever it would take, what would that lead to? Would that return that you'd get, would that be worth it? And how much would that be worth it? Would it mean you get better shows with your band? Would it mean that you will just be able to leave a legacy and it's about self-actualization, about being proud? Would this mean that, and let's be honest, for some people that's the goal and it's totally fine, would it mean that you could impress your friends and families? And everyone would say, wow, did you make that? Yeah, I recorded this. Like, I wrote it, I've written it, I've recorded it, mixed it, I did all of it myself. And people would be like, wow, that's impressive. Maybe that's what you want if you're truly being honest. And that's totally fine. Would it mean that you would be taken more seriously in your scene? Would it mean that your record wouldn't sound weak compared to the bands that you're playing shows with? Whatever your goal is, think about what it would mean if you had a great record out there or great songs out there that sound awesome, and what that would be worth to you in terms of energy, time, money, all of that. Also think about how much time, for example, you actually have available. Do you really have time to put in your 10,000 hours on your own to get really, really good at this? Or do you have a day job and a family and in the life outside of music, and you just doing it on your own would mean it would take 10 years, and probably not even that would be enough because you're not getting in a flow ever, because you don't have these long focused blocks of time that you can work on music. So just be realistic about what you have in terms of resources, what you want as an outcome, what that would be worth to you, and don't say that just because it's not going to be your profession, it doesn't mean, don't say that this means that it doesn't have to sound great or it's not worth investing in it. It's just not true. It's just not true. And so please don't use this excuse anymore. Just, if anything, just say, hey, I actually want this to sound really amazing. I just don't have any money to make it happen. Or say, I have very little money, very little time, or whatever your situation is. And then maybe there is a way that we can still help you, or others can still help you, or, there's a solution for almost everybody out there. I just don't want you to think about your art anymore as something that is not worth investing in. That's all I want to say with this episode. It really means a lot to me to be putting this out there, because art is incredibly valuable. It is important. We need it. We depend on it. It's great for us as artists that we can put ourselves out there, that we can express ourselves. It's a way to vent. It's a way to, it's healthy. There's so many benefits of creating in like creating art, and also in putting it out there in the world and not just having it for yourself. And then also there's value for people who can enjoy that art. They will connect with it. It might make them cry, laugh, deal with a difficult situation. It might make their day better. It might be the soundtrack to might become the soundtrack to their life or a period of their life. It could be healing. It could be connecting. Like, art is so incredibly powerful, and whether or not it's worth investing in it has nothing to do with whether or not you're a professional. Two different things. Has nothing to do with each other. And I've worked with, like, again, with so many people who are very clear about the fact that this is just their hobby, but it means so much to them that they are willing to do whatever it takes to make it great. And so let's just be honest, and let's take our art seriously, and let's make it the best it can possibly be with the resources that we have available. And it's not better or worse if you have like a lot of money or a lot of time, or like a little money and little time. Like, you have you're in a certain situation, you've been dealt, certain cards, and now you have to play them, and you have to make the most of it. And there is probably a solution for you. Anyway, I don't have to make this episode very long. This can be a very, very short, simple one, and it will be. It's just something I really wanted to put out there. Now, if you're wondering what could be a good solution for you, and what that would look like for your situation, and what you can do with the resources you have available, if you're being honest and you're saying, like, I really want to make this awesome, I just don't know how in my situation. I don't have a 5-figure budget, six-figure budget, whatever the big artists are using. Then, just reach out to us. Send me a DM on Instagram, send me an email, or go to the selfrecordingband.com, hit the apply button, fill out a quick questionnaire, and then let's jump on a free call. No strings attached. And then I will listen to you. I will ask you lots of questions to understand your situation. I will listen to your music. I will give you feedback, and I will create a step-by-step custom plan specifically for you that shows you exactly what I would do if I were in your situation, because I've been a musician, a hobby musician, and I was broke, and I wanted to make it happen and make it work, and I found ways to do so. And yes, I turned it into my profession eventually, but that was not always the plan. It just ended up happening. And, like, I will absolutely be honest. I will tell you what I think is missing currently. And I will look at your situation and will tell you what is possible with what you have available. And if it ends up being a great fit, and you'll be surprised that it's not going to cost you an arm and a leg to work one-on-one with me, for example, as a professional who can guide you through the whole process. Like, if it makes sense to do that, then let's collaborate, let's work together. I can be your mentor, your coach. I will show you everything you need to do so that you can make great records on your own terms, in your own time, and, all of that with full creative freedom. If I think I cannot help you, or you are just not excited about it and don't think it's a great idea, then the plan could be, hey, maybe you just need to hire a professional and not do everything yourself. That can also be an option. And maybe just doing it all on your own without professional help and guidance, and without professionals, that you outsource parts of the process to, maybe that is the way to go for you, and you're doing a lot of things right already. You just need to change a couple things and spend a little more time, and you'll eventually get there. And if that's the case, I'll be honest and I'll tell you, and then we part ways. You pay me nothing, you have a plan, and it's all good. I just want you to walk away from this call with a clear plan and clear expectations, realistic expectations, and excitement about your future as a self-recording artist. That's all I really want. And so I can tell you a little bit also about what this also means in terms of like monetary investment, what I'm even talking about here. So let's say you go to a professional studio and you do nothing yourself. You just write the songs, but you let someone produce it, mix it, like record it, mix it, master it, all of it. Full production at a professional studio, like really a professional studio with people who know what they're doing, can cost you, depending on where you live and who you hire, but as a very, very, very like low minimum rate, you can expect like to pay whatever $500 to $1,000 dollars per song for full production. It can be much more than that also, but those are numbers that I see from like smaller studios. Go to really big studios or hire like famous producers or like very successful producers. You'll pay much more than that. You can also spend it's very normal to spend like 5-figure numbers on small self-funded indie label productions or even not label productions, that's totally fine and fair, and it's still a low budget production if you make a full record for like $10,000, $20,000. If you have a proper, quote unquote, proper professional budget, you can spend much more than that on a record. If you record yourself and you just let someone mix it, you can expect to pay whatever, $300, $400, $500, maybe also up to $1,000 or even more for just a mix. But you can get very professional, decent results around like $500 or something per song. And I'm not talking for all my peers out there. There's a range of prices, obviously. Just be very careful. Like if someone offers a full professional mix or something for $100, probably not going to work. Like that just means they're probably not doing it full time as a professional and are very good at it. But like, just so you know, so this means if you just make an EP, for example, and not a full record, and you do parts of the process yourself, you hire people for parts of the process, it's not uncommon, very normal actually, to pay like $3,000 to $5,000, somewhere there for an EP. And you can also take that money and not go to professionals, but invest it in yourself. And for less than what it cost you to make a truly professional EP, you can hire someone like myself as a coach or mentor for an entire year who will like give you feedback, listen to everything you have, answer all your questions, tell you exactly what to do next at all times. You can have, you can be part of an incredible community. You can learn how to do it all yourself without having to go down YouTube rabbit holes and figuring it out all on your own. You can do all of that, and then you can use those skills over and over and over again, and not just make one EP, but make like records for years to come. So this can be a very smart investment and a lot cheaper than making a professional record. And if you only have like a couple of $100 or something, if you say like, well, I couldn't even afford like $1,000, $2,000, $3,000, whatever. If all you have is like $500, still you can either have someone mix one song really well, and that one song can do more for you than an entire record full of mediocre sounding songs. That's one option. Or you can get something like the courses we have, plus our community and group coaching, where you might not get the one-on-one mentoring, but you can buy a full system, like a video course that you can go through that teaches you all the things you need to know, plus access to a coaching community, where you get group coaching in weekly sessions, where you can get your questions answered on the call. And that's still a lot better than YouTube. That's still a lot better than most courses out there. And it's a very affordable entry level kind of offer. And if that gives you amazing sounding results, then maybe you can afford or want to afford to take it a step further and get one-on-one mentoring or hire a pro to do a full record or whatever it is, right? There are so many solutions for everybody, even with low budgets. And again, these are just very rough ballpark numbers, and you can probably make a full great sounding record from like 5,000 up to $1 million or whatever. I get that. Just know that there is some kind of investment, monetary investment involved always. And if you don't have that, then there are still options for you. There's still hope. And there's still the option to save up for it, if it's really worth it to you, if it really means something to you. Anyway, I could go on here forever with this. And you don't even have to hire me or apply for what I have to offer or talk to me about this. You can go to wherever, but just figure out what you can do, what your options are, and maybe consider doing a little more to make your art sound really, really great, because it is worth investing in it. I truly believe that. Your art matters, and it doesn't matter if you're a professional or not. It doesn't matter if you want to be a professional. You can be a hobbyist. That's totally fine. Yeah, end of story. Go to theselfrecordingband.com, fill out that questionnaire. Let's talk. Let's jump on a free call. Let's figure out a plan for you. Or shoot me a DM, send me a message. Contact one of your friends if you happen to know a producer. Request quotes at local studios or studios that you know. Just do something. Just take the next step and do a little more than just listening to this podcast and just watching YouTube videos, if your art really means something to you. All right. I hope I won't hear this excuse too often anymore. And thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. I'll talk to you on the next episode. And I promise we'll get back to more actionable episodes again, where we teach you audio concepts. still appreciate you listening to this message, and I hope you have a fantastic day. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.